All right, a couple days ago, I came across this clip. This is from a podcast with Ingen and Levan, and I found this to be super interesting. So basically, what happens in this little clip is Ingen asks Levan, is Devon number two in the world? How would he rank these guys? Because both Hermes and Devon, for example, have had pretty decent performances against him. And what I found interesting is that Levan does go ahead and rank Devon over Hermes. He says that Devon is number two in the world, and he also thinks that Devon would beat both Hermes and Vitaly right now. So I think that this is very interesting for a couple of reasons. Now, firstly, I will just say that I probably agree that Devon is number two. I think he should be number two, solely based off of the results that we have seen. And that's the reasoning that Levan gives. I think that this is the on-paper answer, and it definitely makes sense. So the reasoning he gives is, of course, Hermes beat Vitaly, so you have to rank Hermes above Vitaly, at least until they have another match, or Vitaly beats someone above Hermes, and Devon beat Hermes. So, of course, it makes sense that you could have that kind of hierarchy there be Devon is number one out of those three guys, Hermes is number two, and Vitaly is number three. Now, if we look at Levan and Devon's match, of course, no one has ever done this to Levan, where Devon pretty much does take hand control here. He has the higher knuckle. He's forcing Levan to hold on. No one has done anything similar as this to Levan from what Devon did. Obviously, Hermes was able to get a stop. Vitaly was able to get a momentary stop, but Levan did end up taking full hand control over Hermes, and he ended up taking full hand control over Vitaly, given some rounds. And even in that first round, he did look like he was going to end up being dominant. But no one has just fully taken hand control versus Levan like Devon did in this round one, and ended up forcing Levan to go into this full-blown flop press. Now, the reason I find this interesting is because even though maybe Devon's performance was the most impressive, I don't really think that Devon had a chance of winning in this match. Whereas Hermes Gasparini, I think he actually had a chance of winning versus Levan in his match. Devon took full hand control, and that was super cool. But as we know, Levan was kind of trying to contain him in this round. And there were some unknowns going into this match. Could Levan pull with his wrist cracked back? And for me, as soon as I saw Levan transition to this really nice looking flop press, I knew that in all likelihood, the match was probably totally over, because I think that the biggest question was, can Levan pull without his wrist? And as soon as this happens, that question was answered. We know that he can, in fact, pull without his wrist. So Devon has the ability to take hand control over Levan in certain circumstances. Maybe Hermes can't necessarily do that, but I don't see any way that Devon was ever going to pin Levan in this match. Whereas in the Hermes match, I think that he probably was going to pin Levan if that match was not stopped on fouls. So hopefully it's clear what I'm trying to say. I think that Devon can potentially have a more impressive performance versus Levan in terms of the way that it looks, taking hand control. But Hermes, even though his performance might be super ugly, I think he's the one that actually has the chance of beating Levan. I think Hermes has a better chance of beating Levan than anyone else. Now, I still agree that you probably should rank Devon above Hermes and Vitaly because of their track record. Hermes beat Vitaly and Devon beat Hermes. So I think ranking Devon number two does make sense. But like I said, I think that Hermes is actually the one who has a better shot at being number one. So let me know what you guys think about that. Do you kind of agree with my reasoning there? I think that this is an interesting place in arm wrestling to be. And my hopes are that ultimately, at some point in the future, we have a similar situation with the number one ranked guy. So right now we just have Levan, who's killing everybody, and nobody really has a chance of beating him, except, like I said, maybe I think Hermes has a long shot, but Levan is the clear favorite against everyone. He still hasn't even lost a single round yet. So yeah, to me, I think that Levan is the clear guy on top, and there's no one who's a real contender. But at some point, we could have a situation where, say it's like Vitaly, Hermes, and Jerry Kydyrgali are the top three guys. I think it's entirely possible. You could have a situation where Vitaly beats Hermes, Hermes beats Jerry, and Jerry beats Vitaly. So you have this kind of question of, it's really difficult to say that one person is definitively the best and anyone could beat anyone. That's kind of the way I see it with Devon and Hermes right now. Even though Devon probably will beat Hermes, I think it's very possible that Vitaly could beat Devon and then Hermes beats Vitaly. So we have this kind of interesting circle right there where the number 2 spot, I think Devon should have that spot technically right now, but it's very possible that he could lose it. And I even think that Hermes has, like I said, a better chance of beating Levan. So that number 2 spot, I think, is a lot more up in the air. And I hope that at some point that'll happen with the number 1 spot. I love Levan, but I just think it would be really cool to have a little bit more mystery as to that number 1 rank. But of course, for now, Levan is the clear number 1. Let me know what you guys think. Who is the number 2 guy in the world right now? Do you think it needs to be Devon, or do you think that maybe Hermes might have that number 2 spot? Do you think maybe he could beat Devon in a rematch? And do you agree with me that even if we should rank Hermes at number 3, maybe he still has a better chance of actually pinning or actually beating Levan than Devon does, even if Devon is number 2 and Hermes is ranked number 3. So a little bit of rambling in this video. I know that this was a little bit of a deeper philosophical arm wrestling discussion, but this is something I've been thinking about. I hope that you guys find it interesting. All right. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll talk to you later.